Okay, so in 1942, Isaac Asimov wrote about the 3 laws of robotics. Okay, the 3 laws of robotics. The second one was to do whatever a person tells you unless it breaks rule number 1. What was rule number 1? Never ever harm a person, okay? Either by doing something or by avoiding doing something. This is why we can see that this fear of autonomy was already there. This is something that we already thought about. But let's go even before that. 1818, yep, we had AI back then. You remember the story about Dr. Frankenstein, who built his own AI monster, right? Obviously, it needed to be the biggest thing around, so it cannot be stopped. But again, it worked well until it stopped working well, until it was mistreated and caused a lot of destruction. This also shows us how we are worried about this artificial intelligence beings coming. But is this the oldest one? No, actually not. I went back all the way to 1550. The story of the Golem from Prague, you know them? The Golem from Prague is an AI being created from mud by the rabbi of Prague, and his entire job was to protect the Jewish community there. Again, everything went well in the beginning. Everyone was very happy with their AI. It was doing exactly what it was supposed to do, but then it kind of misfired because it was maltreated and had to be destroyed. So I think that what we learned from that is mainly about the kill switch that we need to put, but this is a completely different topic. Let's go a bit forward, back to 2016. 2016, we started to think about AI or ML, machine learning, on a way of a different threat. Yes, we are worried that we will all die, obviously, but we're also worried about bias. And a very interesting book, Weapons of Mass Destruction, written by Kathy O'Neill. If you didn't read it, it's a bit old, but it's very interesting. Showed several examples of how bias can really ruin our lives, and especially lives of specific people. She wrote about a story of an insurance company that is trying to make sure that they give the right quote, how much the insurance costs, by using different parameters. Okay, we're doing it today as well, but somehow the biggest parameter was around race, and that was not acceptable, for good reason, obviously. So they decided to remove that parameter and focus on zip code. Well, guess what? This is very tightly coupled with race. So they said, okay, so that's not far enough. Let's go for something else, car type. Yeah, this was actually very close, even closer than the zip code they found. And that was interesting, and they decided, okay, let's go for education. Unfortunately, education is a very bad part of this bias that we know, and this did not work. And honestly, every single thing they tried, including number of siblings and employment type and everything, went back to this bias. And this was something that taught us that this might be destructive, okay? Because insurance price is well, not that bad, but when you go on something like a judge trying to think if someone is guilty or not, or a company deciding to buy another company because of what people say about it, etc. This is something that is happening. So we're not there anymore. We know that AI is biased, right? We all agree that AI is biased, okay? Because basically it eats, the beast eats from our trash, and this is what it learns, and our trash is biased. So let's move to now. What are our worries about AI at the moment? So what we see in my group and in general in the ecosystem of security are two kind of distinct ways of looking at AI in security, or the way attackers are let's call it nicely, engaging with AI in order to attack. So the first one is the use of AI for automation, okay? The same way each and every person here wants to harness the power of AI, and of course there's a lot of power there. Hackers do the same thing. We'll talk about it in a second. The second side of it is actually abuse the attack surface, okay? When you are using AI components, LLMs, datasets, whatever, bots, MCPs, these are new components in your software. New components means, for an attacker, means new doors. It means new doors, new windows, another way to climb in and try to do something. And I think this is the interesting part that we need to remember through all my talk. We need to remember that AI is just the new technology, and the new technology is where attackers like to be. Is everyone familiar with the hype cycle? The hype cycle is basically used for business to understand when something is worth getting into or putting your money on. We, attackers, have our own hype cycle. Let's see how that looks like. So this is tech from a hacker perspective, okay? Keep in mind that the latest one is AI, but it was also the same when web was introduced in 2000 and open source introduced and APIs and everything. Let's go a bit into that. So it starts with a technology that's being introduced, okay? Someone has a good idea, sometimes it's bad, someone has an idea, and it goes out. The next part is obviously buzzwords. We love buzzwords. Buzzwords is what makes our industries roll, and this is great, and this is what brings in the early adopters. Early adopters are obviously very important, but there are not many. So this is where hackers are kind of starting to look what's going on, but this is not worth our time yet. After we have early adopters, we actually have business adoption, because we're starting to see what things are complete crap, and what things actually have some sense in them. And after the business adoption, we have another kind of business adoption, and this is where hackers start to abuse. Because this part is where we are starting to use the technology, sometimes, honestly, without really understanding it, without understanding the implications, without understanding what's happening behind the scenes. And security is all those things. Security is understanding how things might break. And to understand how things might break, you need to understand how things work. And this is where hackers are really good, because it's easier to learn how to break something because you need to break it once. And this is what we do, and we learn technology very quickly, and it's also okay if we fail. It doesn't affect our KPIs. So this is where hackers excel, and this is where they get into the picture. After that, obviously, security vendors wake up. As I said, I'm from Checkmarx, so I know that part as well. We are always too late, security vendors. Not only because we are only starting to look at trends when they are becoming a problem, but also because we are a business eventually. If I cannot sell you a security solution for something you know is a problem, then it's too early. So there's a gap between the time where hackers are looking at what we have and security vendors wake up. Following the security vendors, and sometimes with our help, software security teams start protecting, start taking solutions in, understanding what the issues are. And eventually, and that's usually a long time after that, compliance and standards are written, usually a bit disconnected from real life, but that's a good first step, I guess.
If you found this useful, there's a lot more waiting for you on demand. To access all of our previous AI events and content, become a member today. Membership gives you exclusive access to members-only articles, practical frameworks and templates, and over 200 hours of expert-led video content, as well as on-demand recordings from our presentations and events. You'll also have the chance to join us live at upcoming sessions with leading voices in artificial intelligence. To get started, head to the link in the description and join our AI community today.